Hey, I'm Jeremy from ibl.ai, and this is a quick presentation of the AI Math 103 mentor that we've created that's designed to assist students as they're working through a Calculus 1 course. So before I dive into the actual conversation with this mentor, just to show you kind of how I've set this up, I've put together a system prompt that tells the mentor what kind of students it's working with, how it should respond, such as including Socratic guided questions within its response so as to not do work for the student, but also be providing concrete examples that will help students as they're working through these concepts and problems. So the system prompt, basically an instruction manual. That's one way to think of it. For the language model I've attached to this mentor, we're using O3 from OpenAI, bit of a higher reasoning model. In the data sets that I've trained it on, I took James Stewart's Calculus Early Transcendentals 7th edition, broke it into a couple easy to digest chunks, and trained the entire textbook on the mentor. So now that we've gone through the very quick setup of what we've done to put this mentor together, here's a very quick example of a conversation that a user would have with this mentor. So the first question I want to ask is, can you explain the concept of limits to me? I want to make sure that the mentor is able to handle some of the core concepts students are going to encounter in calculus and respond in a way that I approve by citing its material within the textbook and also providing those guiding questions without giving me too much information. So the way that the mentor is going to do this is break down the concept of limits into a number of parts and rooting them within the textbook itself by citing in its response. So it's going to start with, kind of giving me an overview of a big idea of what limits are, and then share a guiding question with me, the student, to try on my own, which I can then come back to and say, hey, this is my response to this question. Is this correct? How can I improve? And it's going to continuously do that for each portion or section, I guess, of concepts that students are going to be working with, following each one of those with a guiding question. You'll see guiding question 3, 4, 5, etc. And everywhere that it needs to cite the textbook, it's going to cite the textbook. So I also wanted to try if the mentor could explain the concept of continuity to me, another important core feature of calculus. And the mentor does exactly what I want it to do again. Quick breakdown of each kind of section area I should pay attention to in terms of the concept of continuity, citing it where it found it in the textbook, in this case Stewart, chapter 2, section 5, and then providing guiding questions for each one of these sections that students can then go off and do on their own and come back to the table to study. Now, the really fun portion of this mentor that we put together is the ability to actually plot visual graphs. So I'm asking the mentor to plot a graph for the equation y equals 2x squared over x squared minus 1. First, what the mentor is going to do is kind of walk through how we put that graph together and break down the equation in a very easy to digest way so that students know exactly what's happening throughout each step of this problem. And finally is going to show us a graph of the equation that we just asked for. And as you can see, this is a pretty accurate graph. So that's a very quick snapshot of the Math 103 mentor that we've put together. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.